Hi, everybody. This is Ryan Tantalo with the Puerto Rico Ice Hockey Media and Brand Committee. Thank you for tuning into our YouTube channel, and we hope you enjoy this video. And in this following video, I had the opportunity to interview Charles and Charlie Cuprill, a father and son duo in the Puerto Rican Ice Hockey Association. In the interview, the Caprills and I discussed their experience playing for Team Puerto Rico, their Puerto Rican heritage, and their excitement for upcoming Puerto Rico hockey events. We hope you enjoy. Thank you.
I what was it? I found out about Puerto Rico ice hockey probably I think it was last year. So for the Latam Cup in 21, and I started. I don't remember if it was on social media that I saw it or if it was on. I don't remember exactly how, but I connected with Scott and I started asking him questions about the teams and the Latin Cup and I was like, oh, I'd love to participate. So I actually registered for it. I actually bought this was back when they did the red jerseys and the white jerseys. And I actually ordered the jerseys and I registered for the event and I had to bow out last minute and I really was a little bummed that I had to miss it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how we started. And I kept talking to Scott about it. And then, you know, he's more the hockey player. You know, I played beer league. I started playing in my 40s. Charlie's been playing since he was 5 years old. Here, actually, ironically, he started playing at the Ice Factory in Kissimmee, which is one of the venues where they're going to do the second exhibition game. They're going to do that at the Ice Factory, which was his original home rink. He plays for the Central Florida Hockey Club Bears now, out of Maitland, out of well, it used to be RDV, now it's called Genesis. But he plays with them. He's been playing them for 3 seasons, 14U, and but yeah. And I started talking about Scott, and then we went to the first. I guess we call them Fiesta de Hockey now, right? But it was the original event in Chicago. We went last May, and we both played. We both played in the Latam Cup. Our team, we bowed out in the quarterfinals. The U16s made it to the final. Actually, came in second, and the rest is history. And we're hooked, and it's awesome to be members of PRIHA and know that we're registered with the Olympic Committee, and it's a dream. I mean, I was born in Puerto Rico, born and raised. Half my life I was here in the States, but most of it was in Puerto Rico. And hockey for me was always a passion. I moved to Virginia when I was a year old, so we became Washington Caps fans, and always loved hockey. But I lived in PR, so there wasn't any ice when I was growing up, so we'd play roller hockey on really old, bad, bumpy asphalt with fitness rollerblades and no equipment. And that's how I got into hockey, but I never played any organized. And he's been playing since he was 5.
So the first time you actually got to take the ice was back in that like last spring in Chicago?
Yes.
Okay, so that was the first time. So for both of you, what was that like to finally put that jersey on and kind of get to know your teammates a little bit?
Oh man, it was really cool meeting everybody. I had a lot of fun with the organization. Yeah, it's
And
just fun.
what kind of different, different kids did you get to meet, maybe different parts of the country or from Puerto Rico themselves, what was the team made up of?
Oh, they're made of kids from a lot of states, mostly higher up in the north, up north. But it was cool to see everyone, even from Puerto Rico, just come and play in Chicago.
Yeah, it was putting that jersey on was absolutely crazy. It was for me, being born and raised in Puerto Rico, and raising him, and he's got a Puerto Rican flag in his bedroom. You ask him where he's from. He was born in Orlando. Where are you from? He goes, I'm from Puerto Rico. And just being in that locker room wearing it was the red jerseys back then, so the one with the PRIHA logo on them. It was just an absolutely amazing experience. The guys, in my locker room were great. The kids, they have kids from Chicago, kids from Connecticut, upstate New York City. You've got the Carolinas, Colorado, California, a couple kids that live in Puerto Rico, and it's an incredible makeup of players. And with us adults, it was some guys born in Puerto Rico, a lot of guys that were heritage, first generation, moved here, just grew up playing hockey, and just the love for the sport. And I mean, we could take it to the next level. That one of the kids that plays on Charlie's team, well, his mother is actually a long lost cousin of mine, and that in itself is a crazy story. But that's what we can leave that for another time.
That is really amazing though. And I think a big part of that is how rapidly the organization has grown in the last couple of years. So many people, finding out about it and then getting involved. And, even since you joined in almost a year ago, the association has gotten much bigger. And, and then now heading into these new events, is that exciting for you, hearing about the different things popping up and one of them in your own backyard?
Yeah, it's amazing. To know they're going to play on the Amway ice and be able to have that experience here. I mean, this is the 79th municipio of Puerto Rico here in Orlando. I mean, it's I mean, there's been people from Puerto Rico living in Orlando since the 80s. They moved to areas of Kissimmee and Orlando. So your community here is not as old as Chicago and New York City, that was back in the 50s, but there's a really, really big, really strong Puerto Rican community here, and to be able to, try to expose them to PRIHA and to the fact that there's a Puerto Rican ice hockey team, it's pretty cool, and the fact that they're going to play a game where I play my adult league games, and he started playing hockey is actually pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned, a really, really strong Puerto Rican presence down in Orlando, and I think that was a big reason why the association is heading there. But just in general, what is the culture like there with people like yourself that they live in Florida, but they have strong Puerto Rican connections?
Oh, here, huge. I mean, they do the Puerto Rican Day Parade here. They just last weekend they did La Fiesta de la Calle San Sebastián. That's a huge event in Puerto Rico, but it's weeks. It's a couple weeks of a party in San Juan, in Old San Juan. Here they do an event that's one night, but they did it over the weekend. I mean, we've got, Puerto Rican bakeries from the island are opening up here. I mean, you want your food, you can get it. You want to hear the music, I mean, even my dental practice, I mean, most of my team are from Puerto Rico, and it makes me very happy that the culture and the traditions are here, even though I'm not able to raise my children in Puerto Rico. It's kind of the closest thing, you take it to even the U.S. House of Representatives member from this area happens to be from Puerto Rican lineage, so that says a lot. It's the culture's here, everything's there, and we got a couple people that play hockey, not too many, but we got a couple.
Right. Well, and it's certainly a growing community, and hopefully the next things that come up next month with the Serie de Desafiadores, hopefully that kind of encourages the community a little bit, gets people involved, not only as players, but as hockey fans. Do you see a lot of hockey fans down there? You have the Solar Bears team, but, specifically among the Latino community, do you think there's, maybe a bit of an untapped market there?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see very many here, but it's good because if you bring a bunch of people here, then yeah, a bunch of people get interested. So it's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we got the Solar Bears here, but you have to remember, you drive 80 miles to Tampa. We got the Lightning, we got the Panthers. You go up to Jacksonville, we've got the Iceman. There's a lot of hockey in Florida. You know, you get a lot of that. You know, people are like, hockey in Florida, really? And you know, we've got a lot of people from up north that moved down to Orlando. There's a pretty strong, not Orlando, down to Florida. There's a pretty strong hockey community here. Mostly, you know, Tampa, down south. We only have 3 rinks here in Central Florida, but you know, the state, you know, Sayhoff here, the state federation for youth hockey is pretty strong, and
Mhm.
lots of teams, and you know, the Florida Alliance goes up north, and they actually, you know, they make some waves. So you've got a lot of hockey here. We just have to. I think this will be an event that might really push it to the forefront with Puerto Ricans, or maybe even with Hispanics, because they can be exposed to it. And I hope, you know, me sharing it on social media
Mhm.
and just talking about that it would just be. I'd like to see that Amway Center packed. You know, it would just be really cool.
Right. Right, absolutely. So what would you say to somebody maybe to try and convince them to come and watch, or maybe a younger person to try the sport of ice hockey? You know, what do you love about it that you would want to share with other people?
There's just no cap. You can always keep growing and growing. There's no limit to how good you can get, really.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Plus, it's fun. You know,
Yeah,
it's
it's really fun.
he'd rather play hockey than sleep sometimes. So it's I don't, you know, I'm you know, I'm your, like I said, typical older guy, you know, beer leaguer. So, but if I don't, I've got a game tonight. If I don't play, it's kind of like 1 week off. It's like, oh my god, you know, you miss it.
Mhm.
And you know, it's just getting the kids out, and you know, it would be really cool to continue growing this Puerto Rico hockey community. And who knows, man? You imagine one day we open up, we put the TV on, and you got these kids parading at the Olympics. I mean, I when they got to the championship game at Latam Cup, they played La Borinqueña before the game. I had never heard La Borinqueña played at an ice rink, and I could barely, you know, just keep it together. It was just, you know, everybody was trying to sing it, but el taco, like we couldn't. It was, you know, it was a beautiful moment to see our kids on the ice, and I just
Mhm.
want to see that again.
Yeah, and I was at the Cup in South Florida for some of those games, and those crowds were just, you know, fantastic. So what was it like as a player, especially to be on the ice, you know, in front of them with your friends and your family and your fellow Puerto Ricans cheering you on? You know, what was that feeling like?
I loved it. It felt like the entire island was there with us, you know. That whole just the culture there, you could just feel it while you were playing. It was really nice.
Yeah, and wearing the jersey, you know, when with the adults, they actually gave us the azuls. We actually had the blue jerseys with the shells, and you know, I remember we put those on, and it was just, we were all sitting there in the locker room just looking at ourselves, going, "Are we really wearing this?" And then putting the stickers on our helmets, and I remember after we lost the last game in the quarterfinals that one of my teammates, Jimmy, he sat there for 40 minutes and was not going to take his gear off. He was like, I've been waiting too long to wear this. He goes, I just don't want to take it off. And
Mhm.
you know, having them, you know, them playing music in the stands, and you could hear the people and the flags, and just the support lifting us up. And uh, even before Latam, for me, at and I wrote a like a letter about this to Scott and the guys when we played in Chicago. We were walking out to our first exhibition game, and one of the guys on the team, Hector, was walking behind me, and he was singing as loud as he could, and Mi Viejo San Juan, and just us walking up to the rink, and I had to chime in with him, because you know, that's actually something that for us that are diaspora, that have actually left the island, and you don't really see yourself, you know, going back to live. That was a moment where, you know, listening to that song, going onto the ice, wearing a Puerto Rico ice hockey jersey, just whoa.
You're giving me goosebumps.
Oh yeah, dude, it was giving me goosebumps. Hector started singing and nobody, and I was like, screw it, I'm joining in. you know.
And you sort of have a different experience from your son, kind of joining in the sport a little bit later in life, and seeing both sides of life in America and life back in Puerto Rico. But to have that like deep connection for your son now, to also be able to tap into that, for both of you, what does that mean now to kind of continue that in the new generation?
Can you say that again?
Well, so your dad kind of talked about almost being transported back to Puerto Rico when he wore the jersey and was with his teammates, right? But as somebody who's the new generation living in the United States, so how does the sport help you connect back to your heritage?
All of when my grandparents and all my aunts and uncles, they saw me wearing that jersey, it was like I was everywhere on every social media. Everyone was just so proud of me, and it just everybody was just from the island that I haven't even people I haven't talked to in a while. They were all coming to me, congratulating me, and yeah,
Mhm.
that
Yeah, no, like you said, it's the deep connection, and we will always do everything that we can so that he has that connection to the island that we grew up in. I mean, my wife, my wife, born and raised in Ponce. She left Puerto Rico in her 30s. you know, and 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 I mean, you look behind us. There's a flamboyant back there, and even behind us, we're from Ponce, so you got to have the Vejigantes. So the connections there, and all those little things, and having the Puerto Rico on the front, the coquillo on the side, all those things are it's just really cool. And I have friends that have played for Puerto Rico in the Pan American Games, and they're and they spoke about how it felt to wear it, and I never had a clue until that day.
Mhm. And I think a lot of people feel that sports in general, really have that power to bring people together and connect you to your family and that kind of thing. So are there any athletes that either of you maybe grew up watching or still look up to today?
Connor Bedard and Kale McCarr, of course. Yeah,
Any
For the
athletes from
hockey,
Puerto Rico though that you look up to?
that one tennis player. I forgot her name, but
Monica Puig.
yeah, she won the first gold medal, and yeah, you, I would love to see myself, do something great for the island with the sport in the Olympics or just anywhere.
And like every good Puerto Rican, he wears his Clemente shirt.
Okay, right.
So,
That's kind of what I was going for.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like every good Puerto Rican, he wears his Clemente shirt proudly. He wears it all the time under his hockey gear
Mhm.
to hockey practice. I mean, that's saying, you asked that question for me. Yeah, I grew up. There wasn't too much when it came. It was Clemente and all the guys in baseball, and then later on you had Carlos Arroyo and all these guys playing. Going out there, and Team Puerto Rico beating Team USA in the Olympics.
Mhm.
And just seeing, but there was never anybody in hockey.
Mhm.
There was never that hockey person, and we're gonna have it. We
Mhm.
will. You'll see.
Mhm.
Because we I always joked around with one of his coaches a long time ago, and we were always talking about wanting to get a team into Pee Wee Quebec, but Pee Wee Quebec is the kind of tournament that's by invitation only. And I said, "Is there any way to get a team?" He goes, "Well, if you have a national team." I said, "Dude, back then PRIHA wasn't even around yet." And I said, "We should just make a Puerto Rican ice hockey team and take it up to Pee Wee Quebec. I guarantee you tell Puerto Ricans there's going to be a team playing in that sport, they'll show up there.
Mhm.
They'll show up there with planeras and guiros and pandereta and all this stuff, and it'll be a party." And then we saw it at Latam.
Mhm. Absolutely. And do you feel like you have kind of a special place almost in the history of sports in Puerto Rico, because both of you really got in so early with this sport and have already been a part of its growth.
I mean, I hadn't thought about it like that. I guess maybe I think, if the kids keep going, they keep climbing, they're gonna have a real special place, because they're the ones that, they can push it and pioneer it and steer it to the international area. For me, I'm just enjoying the ride, and just being out there and being out there with the boys and wearing that jersey. I don't know if I fall into that category of but hey, maybe.
Charlie, do you have any thoughts on that? Because you still have a chance to kind of move through the different levels of the team, and hopefully one day compete at the highest level for your nation. So, is that a special feeling for you?
Yeah, it's a special feeling, and I believe our coach even told us about that, how that we were the kind of history of the team, because we're 16U, so we keep moving up and up. If we keep playing, we can be history. If we even get to the Olympics,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it'd be history. That'd be really,
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. And just recently the association and the national team, they gained acceptance to the IIHF, and that was a huge moment, and in large part thanks to their performance in the last year or so at different competitions and tournaments. So, what was your reaction to that?
I have a sticker on my helmet for it. I'm very proud of being a part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the IHF announcement was pretty insane. And right then and there, I started thinking. I said, "There's got to be a way. How can we get a rink built so we can go from associate to full member?"
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be somebody. There's got to be somebody that my mom knows, or somebody in Puerto Rico be willing to be an investor and just open up a rink.
Mm-hmm.
So right then and there, it was kind of like, all right, let's go, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's the feeling with the board and Scott and everybody. That's the push.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Especially because, as soon as they can start really taking the success that they've had in sort of the contiguous US and hopefully bring it to the island, right? That would be the next step. Really, really bringing it back to the roots, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't really have too many more pre-arranged questions, but is there anything you guys would like to touch on that I missed?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, and yeah, nothing you want to share with the members, maybe to convince them to come out and attend in Orlando or some future events or anything like that, just the words of encouragement.
I mean, dude, it's a blast. If there's anybody out here with any kind of Puerto Rican heritage, if I can step out on the ice with those teams and play, and have a blast and just go out there and leave all on the ice. I mean, the camaraderie, the feeling, the patriotism, el patriotismo, it's their family. That the kids have a group chat all together. They're always communicating. We talk. The adults. When they get together, they hang out. It's that moment in Chicago when everybody got together. I mean, that photograph of us of our team on the ice at Chicago. That's still my cover banner on my social media page. Um, the event here in Orlando. I mean, everybody's got to make it out there. Anybody who can, if you're in Orlando, you're in Tampa, you're in Miami, you drive up, at least catch one of the games. It's 2 games for the price of 1. If you go to the Solar Bears game, those games are entertaining. The Amway Center is, I mean, hell, it's where the Orlando Magic play. You got an ECHL team that's playing in a building equivalent to an NHL, venue. So you go out there, the venue's great, the environment's awesome, and then I don't even want to think what it's going to be like with a bunch of Puerto Ricans out there, supporting the team and walking in with instruments. They might not let us back, but we'll we'll blow the roof off the place. And I gotta tell you what, it would be really crazy to see the ice factory at capacity. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Hmm.
You know, to the point where there's always parking issues there, but I would love to see it where we have to park in the lot next door next to the cows, because that would just be really cool. They've got some really cool bleachers, and it's a good, you know, like Scott wants to pack the place, and I agree with him.
Mhm.
You know, so you know, make it out. It's a blast. Support PRIHA. Let's keep climbing these ladders, and you know, just do it.
All right. I think that sums it up. That's great, and a good goal to shoot for sure. All right. Thank you guys. You guys were great.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for watching, hockey fans. And once again, remember to follow Puerto Rico Ice Hockey on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and visit PuertoRicoIceHockey.com. Thank you.